wasn't just into the centers of literary material. Wherever he went in the country, I don't care what country he was in, he found himself among the artists. He found himself among the people who sang songs or sang chants. He constantly wanted to know what everything meant. He wanted to know where it all came from. And then pretty soon, this enormous cranium of his, this genius that housed, this head that housed so much genius, he would go to Czechoslovakia, or he'd go to the Soviet Union, or he'd go to England, or whatever, and he would hear a song. And he would immediately translate that song to something that had to do with a tribe in Africa. Or hear a melody somewhere in Africa, and he would remember that he heard it being sung by the Welsh miners. Then he'd want to know how the hell did it all get there? Did the sailors bring it? Was it just a coincidence? What has been going on in this byway of life? And he sang in almost every language. He spoke many languages, but phonetically, those languages he didn't speak, he was able to learn phonetically and learn them meticulously. He was conscious about the highest form of the art, and he didn't want to be just an American singing a song of someone in another country. He wanted to get the nuances. He wanted to get the absolute. He wanted the people, when they heard him sing it, for them to assume that he came from that part of Ireland, that part of Wales, that part of Germany. So he was, and he drove me crazy, because having set this standard, I then said, well, that's the only way to really find out what a song.
To the songs of many peoples of the world, songs that I find very similar to my own, incidentally. All the folk music of the world might interest you very, are very similar in one respect. Not only because we have the same, peoples have the same aspirations and feeling scales. One scale of our music, which is predominant, is a so-called five-tone scale, sort of a big word for it, pentatonic, that can be played on the 5 black keys of the piano, which form a natural five-tone scale. And, for example, 2 groups of songs, mostly in this scale, and very similar to my own, are Chinese folk songs and Scotch Hebridean folk songs.
He also sang the song Chi Lai in Chinese. It had originally been a marching song for the Chinese Red Army and was now the first national anthem of the People's Republic of China, which at that moment was sweeping to power.
The idea of my concert is one suggestion that all men are brothers because of their music. And in my first group, I do an old English song. I do an old song from about the 11th or 12th century from Czechoslovakia. The Moravian chorales of about the 11th and 12th centuries preceded the chorales upon which Johann Sebastian Bach based his music. So I take this, and then I do a Bach chorale, and then I create a slight confusion by doing a Negro spiritual right in the middle, because it belongs there. And I found that out by going back to Africa. For example, there was an old, in East Africa, there is a chorale form that reached a form just pre-Bach in Europe. Very interesting. Svatý Václave, vive do české země. The first was African, almost, and you say they're very similar. The first was African, the second is from the 11th century in Czechoslovakia with a chorale that just preceded Bach.